Good afternoon to you, welcome. It is Hard Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info Herringport Hackett. I'm Dayo. It's 10 minutes gone past 3 p.m. and you're welcome to today's edition of the show. From now till about 7, we keep the conversation going. Many thanks for joining. And it's raining right now. It has been for days, maybe even a couple of weeks. And I imagine that the case will be so for the next couple of weeks, maybe even months as well. After all, we are supposedly, I think, in the rainy season, but more importantly, we're in River State. And with, the whole climate change situation going on, weather, and seasons and all of that is becoming even more erratic. But be that as it may, lots of rains at any time, actually, is always expected in these parts. So always make provision for that, especially if you're on the roads. As road users, especially as motorists, rains doesn't mean that all rules of engagement or traffic rules and regulations are suspended. Traffic rules and regulations are not suspended once it rains. Rain is not a sign that you can become crazy on the roads. No, traffic rules and regulations still always. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. It doesn't matter what season of the year it is. It doesn't matter what the weather is like. Traffic rules and regulations must always be maintained and obeyed. All right? Thank you very much. I hope today has been a good one for you. Very much so. I hope things are looking up and working out in spite of everything. Welcome once again. From now till about 7, we keep the conversation going. By 7 o'clock, it all comes to an end for today. The sports gang will be in for extra time. So let's get on with today's show. Let's see, I have side comments coming up in a moment, random stories, random thoughts. Once again, they will not be discussed now, so possibly much later on the show during the open season segment. After that, I do have a rant coming up as well, something in my mind. I'll express some thoughts in it, and you're welcome to express your thoughts on mine all the way till 4. Business news comes up top of the hour at 4 p.m. And after that, electoral bill is on course. Yes, indeed. This story from Premium Times intimates us of that situation. As we speak at the moment, I'm getting even live pictures here in the studio. House of Reps debate on Electoral Act Amendment Bill is ongoing in Abuja, even as we speak, I think. I hope these are live pictures. I think I'm seeing live pictures here in the studio. Hopefully before the end of plenary today, as was stated earlier, the bill will be passed. But here's what we have from the Premium Times. Electoral Bill, National Assembly to restore electronic transmission of results. Others. The National Assembly is now set to include provisions for the electronic transmission of election results in the Electoral Amendment Bill. Now, this follows pressure from Nigerians after reports by Premium Times and others that the lawmakers took out that clause from the legislation. It is also not unrelated to the over 900 distress text messages that the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, received from Nigerians accusing him and his colleagues of manipulating details of the bill to their favor. Now, Premium Times had reported how the lawmakers had attempted to reject and omit proposals and key priority amendments canvassed by citizens during the public hearings, some of which include the use of electronic transmission of results of an election and expenses for presidential candidates. Now, Section 50, Sub 2 of the provisions draft read, quote, voting in an election under this bill shall be in accordance with the procedure determined by the Commission, which may include electronic voting, provided that the Commission shall not transmit results of elections by electronic means. Now, however, in the new draft, which the lawmakers are set to pass later today, a new Section 49 was modified to include electronic transmission of results. Quote, voting at an election and transmission of results under this bill shall be in accordance with the procedure determined by the Commission. End of quote. Now, that's what the new version presented at the House of Reps on Wednesday read. So we'll look at this situation in the 4 o'clock hour, which I'll be having a guest with me for that conversation. Henry Akine, is a lawyer and a member of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. He'll be my guest in the 4 o'clock hour for this conversation. What impact will this have on the 2023 general elections? Is this what we have been waiting for years, maybe even decades now, as far as the electoral process in the country is concerned? Is this what Nigerians have been waiting for? Is this going to change the landscape as far as the electoral and democratic process in the country is concerned? Is this that gateway, that wormhole, if you will, that will catapult us to the future, a future where truly free and fair elections are a thing in this country? 4 o'clock hour after the business news. And that takes us to 5. We've got the news update at 5 p.m. After that, let's see. COVID-19 actually kills businesses, not just human beings, but it kills businesses as well. What is it like? The challenge of doing business in a post-COVID-19 era. Here in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State, and beyond as well. I'll be speaking with a popular business owner in Port Harcourt, especially those who are about the nightlife may know about him. Dala Iberema, you might know him as Mr. D. Dala Iberema is the owner of the popular Mr. D Plaza around the CFC area of Port Harcourt. Yes, he's going to be just behind or beside some popular Chinese restaurant around that part of town. He's going to be my guest in the 5 o'clock hour. What is it like running the business in the post-COVID-19 era? Do stay with us for that conversation till about 6 p.m. when we wrap it up. The major news up at 6 and open season afterwards. If you miss out on contributing to any of the matters discussed before then, you're welcome to join in at that time. Till about 7, when of course I close shop today and the extra time with the sports gang takes center stage. So that's the conversation for today. If there are any changes, you are welcome to join in at that time. So let's move on right now with today's side comments, random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention, which, reminder, will not be discussed right now. Now, High Court in Port Harcourt has adjourned to August 19 for judgment on a suit by the Rivers State government seeking to set aside a judgment releasing 150 prisoners from Port Harcourt Correctional Centre. Justice Chiwendun Wogu adjourned the matter after lawyer to the Rivers State government, Chidi Eke, moved the application to set aside a judgment of Justice Olo on the arguments that the lawyer to the prisoners misrepresented facts and the judgment was secured based on fraud. Okay, all right. And that lawyer to the freed prisoners, Oluchi Omereji, spoke to newsmen shortly after the court proceeding. Let's hear what Oluchi Omereji had to say about this development. Where is it? Oh, here we are.
So today, the application to set aside the decision of Honorable Justice Olo was taken. So the council or the court to set aside the judgment based on the ground that there was fraud and representation of facts by us. So we also addressed the court on the issue that the court cannot sit on appeal over a decision delivered by his learned brother, Honorable Justice Olo, and the court adjourned the matter to 19th day of August 2021 for Ruson.
Will be interesting to see what happens, what the court decides August 19. You know, we'll just leave it at that for now. I mean, if you might remember this matter, some lawyer or lawyers went to court seeking that there are persons who have been in custody for years, actually. That's the report. A lot of these persons have been in custody for years. Some of them have not had their day in court for years. Why is there a determination to still keep them in prison? So the lawyers were asking, if these people have been in custody for years, some of them have not had their day in court, why are you hell-bent on keeping them there? And I think the court said, you know what, we agree with you. They should let them go. But the Rivers State Ministry of Justice seems to feel otherwise. They don't want them to go. And that's why this matter's in court. So I guess we'll wait till August 19 to hear what the court has to say about that. The ninth Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, Professor Adedayo Elusakin, has officially been inaugurated as the VC of the institution to serve his 5-year tenure. Professor Elusakin's inauguration followed his assumption of duty yesterday after he was appointed by the Governing Council of the University on the 2nd of July 2021. And the new Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Adedayo Elusakin, while delivering his inaugural speech, said his administration will follow the laid-down policies of the institution. I'm not sure if that's a great thing, really, and I'll explain why shortly. But let's hear what the new Vice-Chancellor in town had to say.
Actions of Senate in Section 7.3 of the Act 84 of 1979 that requires council approval before becoming a policy must be so approved by council before I will implement such policies. It is only after council's approval that I will implement such decisions of Senate. I will run an all-inclusive administration that will leverage on the abundant human resources in this university. I will work as a team with all principal officers. I will work diligently, but with all humility, with my governing council.
Mr. VC, Prof, sir, it all sounds very good. This all sounds fantastic, Prof. However, if you don't mind, I have something of great importance to raise. Now, these are official laid-down policies of the institution, and it's fantastic if you abide by those. However, I suspect strongly that there are certain unofficial but also laid-down policies of the institution. What are some of these unofficial laid-down policies? Sorting, Mr. VC, Prof, sir, sorting. Reports have it, seemingly factual reports, allegedly, of course, that Mr. Lecturers, lots of Mr. Lecturers in your institution demand and receive and collect sorting money. Students are threatened and even failed when they fail or resist overtures by these flagrant lecturers to sort them. Also, another unofficial but seemingly laid down policy of the institution is exploitation of students in different ways. Sex for marks, demanding sex of students. We also hear that a rampant thing with lots of randy Mr. Lecturers in your institution at the University of Port Harcourt. We hear these and other horrific, unofficial lay-down policies in the institution. So if you would use your good office, Mr. New Vice Chancellor, to address these matter, we will go a long way into restoring University of Port Harcourt to truly a citadel of learning, and restore its glory also as truly an ivory tower. Because right now, I'm not sure there's ivory over there anymore. I'm sure it's a lot of just randy, hungry, recalcitrant, bad eggs. Not suggesting every lecturer there is good. I think we can talk about the likes of Dr. Austin Sado, who always stand for the right things, you know, and several others I'm sure like him as well. So, Mr. VC, let's look into this unofficial, as we try to observe the laid down policies of the institution. Let's also consider these unofficial laid down policies as well. Let's see, what else caught my attention on the news today? Oh, the Human Rights Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association, Port Harcourt branch, has urged the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, Boka Friday, aka the versatile CP, to properly investigate the disappearance of one Callistus Adoyi since April 27. Chairman of the committee, Antonia Osademe, made the call when she led members of the NBA and the committee to the office of the Commissioner of Police. Mrs. Osademe said the committee is concerned about the abuse of human rights by some police officers. Any right-thinking individual should be concerned about this, and I'm very certain that Mrs. Osademe falls in that category. But here's what she had to say.
Where a Keke man was shot dead by your officer, but as a result of that crisis, some people were shot. yes, other persons, that is the case we are now presenting. They were shot by the Rumokoro policemen, injured, and they were still the same people that took them to UPTH. And since then, that is how they have abandoned them there. We are seeking justice for them and appeal to you to please use your good office to ask a proper investigation on these matters.
Yes, indeed. By the way, I missed the sound about the Callisto situation, but she also talked about, remember that incident last year when it was reported that some of our gallant officers at the Rumokoro division shot at people randomly because some person went back in on a protest, and several persons injured. Remember as well that even the police themselves, as Antonio Ansademi has mentioned, were the ones who took some of these people who were shot and injured by them to the hospital and simply dumped them there. Terrible situation. Terrible situation. So, by the way, the Commissioner of Police, Friday Boka, responded and he assured the NBA Human Rights Committee of better working synergy and promised to address all the issues raised. Here's what the versatile CP had to say about the situation. Let's hear him now.
Somebody was arrested at Ishukwu. That issue came up when during an interview, and I asked the area commander Ishukwu. He said nobody was arrested, and I believed him. But since it's coming up again, what I need to do is to call the GCT CID to go.
CP, that's what they say. CP, that's what your men will always say. Even when the person is standing beside the DPO, we don't know them. We didn't arrest them. They are not here. Even if the person is right there beside the DPO, CP. Why are we doing as if we don't know these things? CP. Your children, your boys, that's the whole world. That is what your boys do. They will say they are not there. The person is languishing in the cell. They say he's not there. He's not here. We didn't arrest any such person. CP, shouldn't you have people who are reporting to you besides the DPO in those places that you can get information from? CP.
I look into that matter. So this thing will continue recurring. So if it's actually someone was arrested and the person is missing, we'll get to the root of it.
Very likely, CP, somebody was arrested. Very likely. We all know these things. Let's not be doing like we don't know.
They have to be taken to court and processed throughout, and they will know if court says you'll be punished, you'll be punished. But not to be missing just like that, it's improper. It's unheard of. We're not going to.
It's very heard of. CP, sir. It is highly heard of. In fact, people just disappear. And not to say that your boys or your children are responsible every time, but yes, many times your boys are also responsible. Your gallant boys, some of them crackheads. They are responsible for people's disappearances. CP, they do that. The same way it's been widely reported they were responsible for shooting people sometime last year. Some of them were still languishing in pain in hospitals or other treatment centers across the state or even beyond. So, CP, let's look into this. One thing that could help once again, remember CP, I've been giving this, I gave this advice recently, this recommendation. Maybe it would help, get a shrink to talk to your men. Let them fill out a questionnaire first. Why are they angry at civilians? If they can give honest responses to that question, this might help us in making some kind of progress. Sometimes you need to unbundle. You need to unbundle what's on your mind. They say a problem shared is half solved. So if your boys can explain why they are angry in a questionnaire, not in an essay, not longer than 500 words. If they can explain why they are angry at civilians, why every time they see civilians, they want to beat them, steal from them, rob them, exploit them, slap them, kick them, sometimes shoot them or kill them or give them blood sugar. If they can explain, why they do this, when we might be a few steps closer to resolving this situation with flagrant human rights abuses by our gallant officers. All right, so I think I need to wrap up the conversation. The sacrament on that note, I suppose. Thanks for listening so far. I have to go on a break right now. I'll return, and when I do, today's rant comes up. Do please stay tuned. Hard Facts returns in a moment.
We give the facts.
News entirely.
We give the evidence. Just to keep you informed.
News, weather.
I get my information top of the hour every hour.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Are you running late and can't make it down to our Rumorsi office to book your commercials? Don't worry, because you can take advantage of our marketing office inside Port Harcourt to book your commercials. It is located at Shop 9 Mediatrix of All Graces Plaza, opposite FIRS Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. You can also call our sales rep on 0817-001-8162. That's 0817-001-8162.
Information is a two-way thing. Nigeria Info, it's your turn. Let's talk.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Hello, welcome back. Still Hard Facts at 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 29 minutes to go before 4 p.m. And I'd like to run for just a bit. Something in my mind. Be expressing some thoughts in it. And you're welcome to express your thoughts in mind till 4 p.m. Now, every day, literally every day, Monday to Friday, when I'm rummaging through my mind, when I'm traversing the news environment, and trying to sift and filter, figure out, determine what the day's rant is going to be, what the subject or the topic of today's rant will be, or what story will count as inspiration enough for my rant. I always ask myself one fundamental question, especially when I seem set on a particular topic or a particular matter or issue. I always ask myself the question, what would be the essence of the rant? What do I hope to accomplish? By the time I'm done delivering that rant, what message am I sending out? Is this message clear? Is this message simple enough? Is this message direct? And what is the message? I think the most important question is, what is the message? And the same thing happened today as well. And I asked myself, what is the message that I'm sending today with today's rant? What point am I trying to make? And usually it's a reminder of sorts, because the things that I talk about on